Hello, welcome back to another Real Talk with Dr. Jim Sharps, where we look at health topics and other topics from the perspective of original medicine. What we really want to do with this channel is demystify areas of health and really give you information to make informed decisions about your health, about your nutrition, about lifestyle choices. We want to really give you a trusted source of information. So Dr. Jim, thank you once again for taking the time to be with us and sharing your immense expertise with us. One thing we wanted to talk about, we've kind of had kind of an eclectic mix of topics over the last few weeks, but one thing we do know that in January, it's a very exercise heavy month. That's a focus for a lot of people around the world. And obviously a big part of that in terms of trying to get healthy after the indulgence of the festive period is around nutrition and the nutrients that they kind of ingest into their bodies. So we wanted to cover today looking at nutrients. Are all nutrients created equal? So the first question for you, Dr. Jim, is in terms of nutrients generally, is there a hierarchy of nutrients in terms of food groupings? Are all nutrients created equal?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, there is a hierarchy of nutrients, hierarchy of food groups. And this is something that I go into a lot of detail in my book, The Basic Principles of Total Health. And the subtitle is The Hierarchy of Nutrients. And basically there's 5 food groups within the hierarchy of nutrients. There's those basic nutrients that no biological functions can live without, and that's air, water, and sunlight. We kind of take it for granted and you don't consider it as a food group, but air, water, and sunlight are absolutely necessary for all bio function in life. And then the second food group, and this is something that you do recognize, is fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. These are your raw foods. These are your plant-based foods. This is what comes out of the earth. So they're the highest integrity foods that you actually sink your teeth into. You don't sink your teeth into air and water and sunlight. So that's the second food group, which you can eat all of it that you want, but if you don't have the first food group, those basic nutrients, you can't have any life. And then the third food group is grains and legumes. The fourth food group is meat and dairy, which is what a lot of the standard American diet is based on. And then the fifth and the lowest integrity nutrients is in that group that is processed and refined foods, those things that normally come in a box, can, or bottle. So that is the hierarchy of nutrients. Those 5 food groups, from the highest integrity for delivering health and vitality to the lowest integrity in delivering health and vitality.
Yeah. Okay. No, I appreciate that. And so in terms of looking at it, not from the perspective of the food groupings that we ingest, but from our body's perspective, yes. What are the key things our bodies need from the food we eat? What does our body need to absorb or kind of process from the food that we eat?
Yes, very good question. So what do you want from your food? And what are the absolutely 7 best the requirements that you need for health and vitality? And basically the food groups basically provide this in a lower and lower integrity form as you go through the groups. So those 7 things are water, carbohydrates, amino acids, fatty acids, vitamins, minerals, and enzymes. And so the highest quality comes in fruit, which is a high water content food. It has carbohydrates. It does have a little bit of fat, protein, depending upon the fruits that you're eating. It has the highest availability of vitamins and minerals and enzymes. And then if you go all the way down to the last group, there are no enzymes at all. They're only in live foods. So you can see how that hierarchy of nutrients match to these 7 essential body requirements that we need to get from our foods.
And how, just zooming into fruit a little more, how does fruit provide those basic nutrients, and why is that near the top of the hierarchy of nutrients?
Okay, another excellent question. Well, fruit, so we said the basic nutrients are air, water, and sunlight. So fruit basically is a high water content food. It's very high in water, You need the air for it to work, and the sunlight is locked into every single seed. So it has the highest concentration of that air, water, and sunlight when you're eating fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds.
And then a final question, if we can, Dr. Jim. If fruit is something that is really, it's a term you've used before, giving us very bioavailable nutrients, how does that, how do we combine fruit with some of the other food groupings? What does it combine well with? Because I know we'll perhaps, depending on the comments, go into this in a further video. But what does fruit combine well with generally? You know, does it go well with carbs? Does it go well with protein? I know people are probably going to shudder at me mixing those two, but what does it mix well with?
Well, that's a very powerful question, because that gets down to the digestibility of foods. And the way the digestion works, it works on the most complicated foods first. So if you have meat and dairy, and the mistake that a lot of people make is they have fruit at the end, it basically stays back there, standing back there, because the body says, oh, I got to take care of this more difficult thing to digest, and they can ferment or putrefy. So you want to be careful with your combinations, especially if you don't have very strong digestion. So the best things to eat when you're eating fruit is eating fruit with nuts and seeds, because nuts and seeds are botanically a fruit. It's a seed-based plant. So nuts and seeds work well with it. And some of the higher water content vegetables like cucumbers, celery, and lettuce work real well with fruit. As a matter of fact, I recommend it, because fruit today is a lot sweeter than it was in the beginning of time, because of, the different soils, the hybridizations that have taken place. So cucumbers, lettuce, celery combine well with fruit, and sometimes it can combine with grains. So depending upon the type of fruit, you can, for example, have a grain cereal and have a little bit of blueberries on it, or raisins and dates. So dried fruit work well with certain grains, and dried fruit works with salads, for example, green vegetables. But generally speaking, you don't want to eat the heavier foods, and it really doesn't work well with processed foods. There's so many chemicals in there and everything, and it can cause indigestion for those that already have weakened digestive systems. So hopefully that kind of helps to explain it. So of course they combine well with themselves, and even fruit, even certain high water content fruits like grapes and cucumbers, grapes and oranges, apples. You can see sometimes you don't even feel comfortable eating it with bananas maybe, or raisins and dates. So there even are combinations within fruits. There's the high water content fruit, the medium water content, and then the dried fruits. So even those you want to be kind of careful when you're eating. And if you want more information on that, in our book, The Basic Principles of Total Health, I have 7 pages just on the food combining, and yours basically talks about one of the very important ones. What's the best way to combine fruits, which is those highest integrity foods that you can eat, and how you can get the highest value from it from a digestion standpoint. Because as you know, it's not what you eat, it's what you assimilate.
Dr. Jim, thank you for that. I think on that very poignant note, we can close the video today. I hope if you've been watching this has just given you something to think about, some knowledge, some information to start perhaps even digging more into food combinations. If you are interested in hearing more or want us to dig deeper into some of these topics, please just leave a comment, where we do review the comments, and we're more than happy to really address new videos that respond to your comments. So thanks for joining us again. See you on the next one. Bye for now.
Bye for now. God bless.